Let me guess. You need more podcast listeners. Listen, I know your show is great, but if a tree falls in the woods, can you hear it? So today I'm talking all about how to find those podcast listeners through social media marketing. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my name's Andrea Jones, and I'm all about building profitable communities online for podcasters just like you. Now, the number one way to get more listeners is through word of mouth marketing. It's great to walk into a room and go, hey, I'm here, I'm awesome. But it's even better if someone else can say, hey, that girl Andrea over there, she's really awesome. But the challenge with word of mouth marketing is that it's unpredictable. It's hard to know when exactly someone's going to share your awesome show. So in today's episode, I'm going to talk all about how to get more podcast listeners through social media, which is the number 2 way of getting more podcast listeners. Social media. But I think a lot of times we're using social media incorrectly. We post and run away and we don't really know what we're doing. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how to do that, especially for podcasts, because podcasts are such a unique medium. People can listen anywhere. So we're going to talk about how to do that in this video. Look, there's me. All right. So the first thing you want to do when you're thinking about social media for your podcast is optimizing your profile. Optimizing your profile. Okay, I gotta preach for a second here. Preach. You guys, podcasters. We've got to start putting in our profiles that we actually are a podcast. I can't believe how many times I'm looking at Instagram accounts, Facebook profiles, Twitter accounts, and it doesn't actually say the word podcast. So make sure you put that in your profiles and your bios and optimize it so people know how to find your show and what it's all about. So how to find your show. Let's talk about that. There's so many different places people can listen, and there's so many different ways you can do this, but make sure that you really talk about the different places where people can listen. It still is a little bit of an education process. I know podcasting is booming, but not everyone knows where to find a show. So make sure you kind of talk about that on your profile. Easy way to do this is to create a landing page using something like Linktree. I'll put a link in the show notes, listen to me, in the description. I'll put a link down there to Linktree or something similar where you can link to multiple places. And I do suggest linking to the different places you have your listeners. So for me, and for a lot of us, iTunes is a big one, but Google Play, Spotify are not that far behind. So you want to make sure to kind of give both your Android listeners and your Apple listeners different places where they can listen to your show. Okay. The second thing you want to do in optimizing your profile is really focus on what your show is about and focusing on why it matters to that potential listener. So an example would be if you have a show that's called The Wonderful Dog Show and you go, this is The Wonderful Dog Show's social media profile. We have new episodes every Thursday. That's great, but as a dog owner myself, I don't know exactly what element of dogs you're talking about here. And your show really talks about training your dogs, okay? So you want to make sure to put that in the profile, but really talk about the result that you help people get. So your show is about training dogs, but it also helps people have a calmer, more lovable pet that they can have in their household without destroying or barking at everything, okay? So that's a really great transformation that you want to put in so many words in your profile. So make sure that your profiles are optimized so that they have links to your show, and make sure that your profile also talks about the transformation. Why would people listen to it? What's in it for them? Okay? All right, back to our slides. So the second thing here for social media for podcasts is sharing new episodes. I had to put this one on here because I think sometimes we think it's easy, but listen, sometimes we post a new episode and go, yay, we have a new episode, here it is, can't wait for you guys to listen to it. And that's great and all, but you're forgetting that little why does it matter phrase. You're forgetting why people would listen to the show. Really reel them into the episode because we're all busy. We all have a gazillion things to do. And give us a reason why we should stop and listen to your show. So an easy way to do this is to write what your show is about. That's easy. Who's in it, maybe if you have a guest. But then also give us 3 to 4 different points, different elements of that episode. So here's an example. We've got the Wonderful Dog Show. They've got a new episode with this amazing trainer. And so they can say, we've got a new episode with this amazing trainer, but then you can also list 3 different points that trainer made. So maybe he talked about how to get your dogs to stop barking in the window. Maybe he told a transformational story about one of his clients that went from unlovable pup to the family dog. Or maybe he talks about how to get your pets to eat on a certain schedule. Whatever it is, make sure to outline that in your social media post, because we want to reel people in. Now, as a dog lover, I look at that post and I go, I missed a few episodes, but this one is one that I definitely don't want to miss. This one is one that I want to add to my schedule to make sure that I listen to it this week, okay? And you really want to reel them in here too, because social media is a great reminder for those people who haven't listened to the show yet, who maybe are already subscribed, and maybe they just need a little more reminders as to why this show is awesome. So don't forget to give them those little reminders, okay? Okay. Awesome. All right. When we're talking about new shows, let's go back to my slides here. When we're talking about sharing the new episode, we also want to use this, an audiogram. Audiogram. Now I'm going to link to a video where I share exactly how to make one, but essentially an audiogram is an audio-video representation of your show, just in like a little appetizer version, just a little taste of what your show is about, so 30 seconds to a minute long. Now, these are great because they really help give people a sample of your show. I've heard some controversy about whether audiograms work or not, and I can tell you they work. You just have to think about them in a certain way. The audiograms aren't for people who are already bought into your show, because they're going to listen to it. Maybe they just need a little push and shove, a little nudge, but they don't need a lot of convincing. The audiogram is for new listeners, people who don't know about your show and who are considering listening to it. So you're helping them make that decision by giving them a taste of what the show is like. So find 30 seconds to a minute of the show that's really powerful and share it out on social media. This is a really great way to share out new episodes, okay, to create an audiogram, but it's also a really great way to call back to some of those older episodes that maybe were popular, or maybe they weren't as popular as you thought they should be, and so you want more people to listen to them. You can create an audiogram to be like, hey, here's an episode from the archives. Give it a listen. Make sure to scroll back and check it out, okay? Awesome. With both sharing your new post, whether it's an audiogram or a still image, you want to make sure that, again, you have your headline, you have your 3 points, but you also have a call to action. Be very specific about what you want people to do with this information. Literally spell it out. Even on a platform like Instagram, I'll often say you can find this show by searching for Savvy Social Podcast, and it's on iTunes, it's on Google Play, it's on Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast, okay? Most people, my audience, are on those 3 platforms. So I'll spell it out for every time I'm sharing that episode, because I don't want to assume people are seeing all my posts. In fact, statistically, only about 10% of my audience is seeing my post at any given time. So while it may sound a little repetitive to you, you don't want to assume and have someone be confused, because a confused mind says no. So if it isn't clear to them, they'll say, that's interesting, I'll look at it later, and you know they never will, and you've lost that person. All right, last thing I want to talk about today is being active on social media. Being active. I think these first 3 things are very passive. You put posts up, you wait for people to find you. But the one thing that a lot of podcasters miss out on is being active. Now, here's what I mean about being active. It's called networking. It's called social networking. So being social, and it's a lot like networking in person, just online. So finding people who would be potentially interested in your show. I gave the example of this dog training show that I just made up for this video. Maybe they need to look for dog Twitter accounts or Instagram accounts, or maybe they need to join a Facebook group or a Reddit forum that's about dogs. So go where your audience is and start participating in those communities. Participating can look a number of different ways to a number of different people. You can you can comment, you can reply, you can DM, but the goal here is not promotion, okay? The goal here is awareness. So you've already set it up, you've got your profile optimized, you're sharing new episodes, you're using audiograms, so you're playing into people's natural curiosity. Once you start getting a little active on those platforms, they'll get curious and check your show out. Okay, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe for more videos just like this one. And hey, if you want another way to get into social media, if you want a little leg up, I do have a free course. You can find it by going to onlinedrea.com/free. The link will be in the description of this video, and it's a really great way to just get started on social media. But if not, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!